Right, let's get going. Hello and welcome to today's Just Chopsing Podcast. And today with David and myself, we have Teal Collins. And she is one of the singer-songwriters from the Mother Truckers. How are you, Teal?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, we're really good. And we were just talking off air. David likes to say that sometimes.
Yeah, sounds professional, doesn't it?
And I think we'll just cut back to it because I didn't actually realise you were married to Josh.
Yeah, Josh and I are married for about 20 years now, together like 22 years. And we started the Mother Truckers. We played in bands before Mother Truckers together. So we played in these bands. We had a band called Rubble back in the day where we played like stuff like Dio and Zeppelin and AC/DC and it was just a lot of fun. And then in 1999, he was in a band, I'm not sure if you know this, called Protein.
Yeah.
Which was signed to Sony work label. And after that was over, they released 2 albums. And then after that was over, we started Mother Truckers in 1999 here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And just started gigging and, he's like, you want to start this country band? I need someone who can play ukulele. I'm like, okay. And we thought of it was hard to name a band, do you know how like naming anything is just hard to do.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of different names that we were rolling around with. And then we went with the Mother Truckers because everybody that heard the name, they're like, oh, we've heard that before. Because of course they've heard, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And so then we started playing the Bay Area, and we actually hooked up with a manager here that managed Pablo Cruz and Huey Lewis in the News.
Okay.
Bob Brown, and he's like, I want to help you guys. I just sent him a random. We had like a 4-song EP, just like a little demo, and I sent him that, and right away he's like, I love it. Like, what can I do to be involved? And so that started us making our first record.
Okay, cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You've been around the music industry pretty much all your life, I guess.
Yes.
Because your dad was a famous jazz DJ, I think.
Famous jazz DJ. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And he was on as a DJ. You work wherever they will hire you. So he was a lot of different places, but I think of kind of his heyday was he had a lot of different great times, but one time that was great was in the 80s. He was on WNEW in New York, and that was a lot of fun. But he would commute because we lived in the Bay Area still in Marin County, and he would work there during the week and then fly home on the weekends.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, I know.
So he was busy then.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I got to grow up around when I go back there to the East Coast and stuff. We go see Les Paul work out every week, and he emceed things like Miles Davis tours and Frank Sinatra, and he knew all the jazz guys. So I got to grow up around a lot of good jazz music. But I always kind of felt like that wasn't my thing that I wanted to do because I felt like that had been well covered. I guess it was a little intimidating.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
didn't you think country music was a little intimidating then?
No, because I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh. Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah. So I was like, when Josh and I got together, we kind of thought of it like as obviously an alternative country band. So it was like one part AC/DC, one part Hank Williams. That's kind of what we were going for. And so writing, I didn't feel constrained by anything because I wasn't I knew about Hank Williams. I knew about, a lot of those kind of classic country things, but I didn't feel the same intimidation I do about jazz because it seemed like, oh man, Ella Fitzgerald, where are you going to go from there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always, whenever I think of jazz, I always think of George Melly for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was such an extrovert, wasn't he? You know, he was like, "Right, it's just automatically go to George Melly." So crazy, crazy. That's the crazy thought, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
nice.
you started way back, 2000, 99, 2000,
Yeah.
you said.
Mm-hmm.
And are you from San Francisco then, pair of you?
Yes. Grew up in a town called Mill Valley,
Okay.
which is just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. So yeah, grew up there, and my mom's still there. And so Josh and I started. We wrote songs for the album "Something Worth Dying For," and we released that around I think 2001. And then we're like, you know what? The music scene, the music scene in the Bay Area has gone through a lot of different good times and like bad times. So when we were here then, it didn't seem like a real hopping thing. Like the 90s were super hopping. Everybody was getting signed. It was a total hub for music. And then I think what goes along with like a place becoming more and more affluent with like the tech boom of Silicon
Yeah.
Valley, it moved all the good weirdos out of the city. So there wasn't like this good scene. And so Josh and I were like, well, where are we going? Are we going to LA or are we going to Austin, Texas? And he had been there before on tour with Protein. And he's like, maybe Austin would be good. So we decided, we went out there and visited, like I knew one person there. And then have you guys heard of the the Western swing band called Asleep at the Wheel?
No.
No, I've not.
No? Well, those guys have been around forever, and we did an opening gig for them out here, and they said you guys should move to Austin. So that was like another thing, like maybe we should. So we did move to Austin, and at first we tried to bring our Josh and I are like the only songwriters in the band. We're the sole, we're the band
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah.
We tried to bring our guys from the Bay Area, but they had kids and houses and stuff, and they're like, I don't really want to uproot this whole thing on the whim of two crazy people. So we're like, okay, we're going. And we went out there and put together a band, didn't know hardly anybody there, but we had a few little connections. And we were there for 10 years and built a very nice thing for ourselves out there. The one like a couple of cool things that happened when we were there where it was we won best new band at the Austin at the South by Southwest.
Yeah, I was going to say South by Southwest. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got a residency at the Continental. And like in the Bay Area, that's another big difference between Austin and the Bay Area. Like if you play here in the Bay Area, which we're back here now,
Yeah.
is if you play like once every 3 weeks or something, you could even burn out your crowd with that. Like you could oversaturate.
Okay.
But in Austin, you can play every week and they'll come every single week. It's like almost like a Grateful Dead phenomenon where they're like, I've been to 100 shows.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
And that's like, it's like the Beatles in Hamburg getting their chops.
Yeah.
You're just playing all the time. It's really like, that's such a fun and wonderful experience
Yeah.
to have a crowd, an audience like that. And there's an infrastructure there where writers are out writing about your show saying, hey man, you got to check out these guys. And so that all helps.
Yeah. What's that noise? So, is
There's
somebody beeping their car?
Yeah, there's somebody outside that has the audacity to do their horn while we're having a podcast.
Maybe it's a fan. Of
Yeah.
you, I mean, not of me.
I'll get you guys approach me later. No direct eye contact, please.
That's a David Coverdale's saying, isn't it? I think
I'm sure he
you're not
did.
allowed to look David Coverdale in the eyes when you walk past him.
Yeah, actually, we did open for Dwight Yoakam. And there was a thing where I don't know if it was him saying it, but his people informed us, like when Dwight walks past you to get on stage, no eye contact.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I find that really weird, because I always make eye contact.
Yeah.
that's the
Like
first thing
we
you
went
do.
to London, me and the wife the other week to go and watch Guns
Yeah.
N' Roses, and when you go on the London Underground, we're not used to it because in Wales, even if you don't know people, you go all right, but as you walk past them,
Yeah.
like somebody would stop for me and I'd say thank you, or I'd go all right, or I'd look at them in the eyes and you could see them all freaking out. It was really weird, really, really weird.
I think that's a direct thing of the COVID thing, because I don't remember people being so weird with eye contact, like you're saying. Even here, when I'm hiking on trails where it's only me and one other person for like, 20 miles or something, people are still like not wanting to direct eye contact.
Yeah. Well, maybe they think you got that laser vision and you can transmit COVID through it.
I know.
Definitely not
Yeah.
good looking, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I think
Exactly.
David actually did that. He went to watch Guns N' Roses and he gave about 20,000 people COVID, I think.
No, they gave it to me. I might have given it to them. Mind if I caught it before I went to the venue? Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, think about this for a band name, a great band name, Super Spreader.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depends what you're spreading, though.
I guess so.
Because I did see on your Dynamite video,
Yes.
you had a few adult stars on there.
That was very exciting, was it not?
It was. What was that from what was it called? Roller derby or?
Yeah, it was so that song we did Dynamite and Let's All Go to Bed, a video for both of those, and we had adult porn stars. And in fact, one of the porn stars was remember when Charlie Sheen went through his phase where he had like two, anyway, he took it.
Olsen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we signed in about 2000, I think 10 or something. We signed with this label in Tucson, and it was like it was called Funzalo Records, and it was a pretty bad scene for us economically. But one thing they did hook up was that whole thing with us we had our music in a porn flick, and we had those guys all come out, and that was the Austin Roller Derby team, the Hot Rod Honeys too, at the Continental Club. So that whole experience was cool. And it was just a trip, it was like, whoa, what is going on? And there's even kind of like I wouldn't say an X-rated version of Dynamite, but there's an R-rated version where some of the girls wanted to go topless. So we're like, okay.
David will be looking for that later. You know that, don't you? But you did also it says on your bio that you've got some platinum and gold discs from working with Third Eye Blind.
Yeah, I was on that Third Eye Blind Blue album. Did some singing on there. What?
You were singing?
Yeah, singing.
Doing? Oh, okay.
Singing, yeah. And that was fun. That was here in the Bay Area. And Stephen Jenkins just called me and said, like, you want to come do a session for this album? I'm like, sure. Absolutely. And then I did another session, a gold album for this Motown artist, Shanice Williams. And she had this song, I Love Your Smile, back in the day that was kind of popular. So that was fun. But yeah, I like to do some session stuff. I was just working with, last week I did a session with the guy who was in the band Scandal. Do you remember that?
No.
That band in the 80s, they had that song, Goodbye to You, Goodbye to You.
No, I don't know
if you remember
that. Maybe they never came across the water.
Maybe not. But anyway, just working with different people, and I love doing session stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure what you did, because it says on your bio about you getting gold and platinum discs, but I wasn't sure if you were playing guitar or singing or even producing,
Right. No, it's singing.
Okay.
For those things. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got a really amazing voice, to be honest.
Thank you.
So.
Thanks.
But what's going on with the Mother Truckers then? Because, I mean, you were quite active up until 2012, maybe?
Yeah.
And then it went quiet and...
Yeah. Well, 2012 was when we were kind of like I said, we had signed to this label, and they really kept us on the road kind of too much. We were just constantly gigging. I think we got burnt out from that. And then we were still in Austin, and I started a band called the Whiskey Sisters. And so that was a whole band. We recorded an album, and of course I had to have Josh as the guitarist in there. I was spoiled, and he's so great. And he's been like, featured a bunch in Guitar Player magazine and everything. But so we released an album, we toured, we did some Europe tours too. We did some stuff over there, and so did Mother Truckers, got over to Europe. And then we were just kind of not writing for Mother Truckers as much. And the funny thing is, like, we're still writing, and Josh and I write a lot still together. But Mother Truckers as a band, actually, when we moved back here, we did some gigs too. We did this thing called Sound Summit, which is a festival on Mount Tamalpais, which is our local mountain here, in the Bay Area. And we did some other gigs, kind of like a reunion tour. But then we Josh and I both started getting involved in one thing and another, and we play in a bunch of different bands, and just not really pushing Mother Truckers right now. But luckily, we still get a lot of play on like XM radio, and we're on all the music streaming stuff. So yeah.
I saw a video actually with Josh earlier. I was just looking through some stuff, and he was doing, for those about to rock, he was doing it out in the street somewhere.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Oh yeah, he does he's in an AC/DC tribute band called AZDZ.
Okay.
And he does all the stuff. And what's cool is he also, do you guys know those For Those About to Talk podcast by Dean Del Rey? He does a podcast.
No.
Anyway, he puts together this Bon Scott tribute every year, kind of for his birthday, because he loves Bon Scott.
Okay.
And he gets these heavy hitters like Nikki Sixx and Scott Ian, and like all these people come to LA and do it. And so Josh was the Angus on that thing. Okay. So he gets to play with these fun, Yeah,
I saw him channeling his inner Angus, if you like.
Yeah, and Chris Goss was on that, like all these like super heavy dudes. So yeah,
it's really good. Yeah, he's a really exceptional guitar player.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Oh man, yeah, for sure.
How long has he been playing guitar? All his life, I guess.
Yeah, since he's 11, really. And his dad was like a kind of more of like a folk musician, but he taught Josh some basics, and then by like 12, Josh was like ripping up the solo for Black Dog and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So he took to it right away.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Well, I saw an article actually, because David and myself have been trying to learn to play guitar for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I saw an article yesterday, and somebody said, "Are you too old to learn to play the guitar after 29?"
Yeah.
And the author, or the guy that answered the question, he was obviously an accomplished guitar player, and he said, "You're too old to learn any instrument after you're 29."
That's what he said.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Never. Oh well. Look, you're
What
27 then, isn't it?
Oh man, crawl in the hole and cover me with dirt. Well, I think though that guitar, because I do teach some guitar and teach ukulele and voice and stuff, and with guitar, I do have people coming to me that are like older, like even in their 60s. And the thing is, when you think of going and learning an instrument like piano or something, they're going to teach you how to play it as if you're a classical musician. They're going to teach you reading music and all this stuff. But if you are any age and you want to learn guitar, like just to bang through some songs at a campfire, you can learn like 5-10 chords and some strums and be off to the races. So you don't have to learn it as if you're going to be, you're not going to be Jimmy Page, but you can definitely like go to a pickin' party.
Yeah, that's what we want.
That's all there is. Yeah.
We want to be Slash, don't we, Dave?
Yeah. That's why I bought a Gibson Les Paul that's covered in dust.
Nice.
And I can play A, C, G chords on it. That's about it.
So there used to be a little bar in San Francisco called, let me make sure I get it right, Lefty O'Toole's.
What was it called?
I think it's called Lefty O'Toole's.
Oh yeah, like an Irish pub.
Yeah, it was a little Irish pub. It was I think it was just off the back of Union Square, was it?
Yeah.
And they always had a piano player in there.
Yeah.
There. And it's not there anymore, is it? I think they closed
I
it
don't
down years
I
ago.
don't know.
Because I was
Probably.
there in 2004, I think.
Yeah.
And we had a few good nights in there, because it was like
Nice.
because it was all baseball. I don't know why he was called Lefty O'Toole because I think he was right-handed, but he was a baseball player.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so the whole bar was done out with these pictures of this guy who was in his baseball uniform.
Right.
And I got drunk with a piano player one night
Yeah.
because I kept hassling if I could sing because I wanted to sing, and they just wouldn't let me sing. They had these old women up singing by the side of him, but they wouldn't let me sing. So I was like, "Oh, this is a nightmare."
Oh no.
Yeah, I was really disappointed.
They were picky.
They were, they were. Because I wasn't tipping enough, I expect.
Yeah.
And I went to
Like it.
this other really weird bar as well. It was like run by Asian people, and it was like
Yeah.
really, ultra modern. And they had
Yeah.
Guinness because at the time I used to own a bar, and they had Guinness. They were serving Guinness on tap, and I went in. I said, "I'd love a pint of Guinness, please." And they poured this pint of Guinness, and they couldn't pour a pint of Guinness to save their lives. And
Right.
I was drinking other stuff as well. I was already pretty drunk. And I was like, come on, get out of the way. Let me get behind the bar and sort out your Guinness for you. So I was messing with all their gas and I fixed all their Guinness and they were like, ooh. And I had all these all these photographs of me being drunk at this bar with the barmaid.
I like
Sorting out
it.
their Guinness.
You
Yeah.
advocated for yourself there.
I did. I
Yeah.
liked it in San Francisco. It felt very European, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. And it's a great town. I mean, there's so many cool places. Did you get to Zeitgeist, the bar Zeitgeist?
Oh, I don't know. I went to so many.
Okay, I think you would probably dig that one. Because it's just a really, they say we have what does they say? Hot beer and cold women.
Oh, okay.
And it's really like rock and roll, like, you know, they're,
Oh, yeah, he's
I think
back.
with their street cleaning. Yeah, I think they're street cleaning randomly today on my street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was all over the place to be honest. And then
Yeah.
because I see you got a Tom Jones t-shirt on,
Yeah.
and because it was for my 40th birthday,
Uh-huh.
and then we flew to Las Vegas
Nice.
from San Francisco. We flew straight over to Las Vegas for 24 hours. Went to see
Yeah.
Tom Jones in the MGM Grand.
Great.
Had a party all night, and then flew back into San Francisco.
Whoa.
Yeah,
When did you? That was your 40th, you said, was it?
that was my 40th. Yeah,
Was that 1973?
it was about 1926. But Tom
Young
Jones is
boy
older than
then.
me, so I was in. No, no, it must have been 2006, not
Was it?
2004. Yeah, 2006 it was.
Did he have like a
Nice.
residency over there? Did he?
I
Or
can't
was just
remember.
doing a
It
free
was
show?
his 65th birthday party, I think,
It's amazing. Isn't it?
Ah,
because he was 65 and
interesting.
he was just turning 65 because he was joking that he could get his bus pass because he was becoming a pensioner. Then he was becoming a pensioner. Yeah, yeah,
And he's 80 years of age and still doing it.
yeah. And now he's 80.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure. When I was there last, I saw Wayne Newton there and he
All
had
right.
like a gold microphone. I thought, oh, that's fancy. That
Yeah.
seems very Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, I was sat right at the front. We were in the MGM Grand, and they've got those little booths.
Yeah.
And I was sat right at the front, pretty much. They got the booths, and then they got some little tables in there in front of the stage.
Yeah.
And I was sat, and the top Tom Jones impersonator from Las Vegas came in and sat down next to me.
Nice.
And my girlfriend at the time was like, "It's Tom Jones, it's Tom Jones." I said, "How can it be Tom Jones when Tom Jones is going to be on stage in 5 minutes?"
He's having a rest.
And all these women were walking in and they were going, "Oh, it's Tom Jones." And the guy had all plastic surgery and he did look the part, but
Isn't that so weird? Like, I'm just going to plastic surgery. There's the horns again. Sorry, you guys. I'm just going to plastic surgery myself to be this dude.
Take it
yeah,
to the
it's
max,
really weird,
don't
isn't
they?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, it was a
Take
good
it to
show
the max.
though.
Yeah.
He couldn't dance,
Yeah.
but you don't expect a 65-year-old to dance, I guess. We call it dad dancing, don't we?
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
I only know about Wayne Newton from the Vegas movies with Chevy Chase. He was in one of those,
Yes.
wasn't he? I'd never heard of him.
Yeah.
And then he was in a martial arts movie, Best of the Best 2 as well. He was in that. Because
Oh, was he?
I'd never heard of him. And then when she was saying she was like swooning over him, wasn't she, the missus?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So funny.
So he's like a big crooner then over in the States, is he? Is he sort of like he lives there and he's got a residency and
He's a totally Las Vegas guy, and he had that hit Shane, darling Shane. So that was his like this big hit. And I think he was kind of a child prodigy kind of thing. Like he was very young when he started singing. So
right.
It was like a novelty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I thought he was a country star, to be honest. But wasn't he a country star, Wayne Newton?
he kind of had all different kinds of pop crossover stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few of them, isn't there? Engelbert Humperdinck.
Yeah.
You know, they did one, and then
Siegfried and Roy.
Siegfried and Roy.
Charlie Pride. He's known.
But, I mean, one-hit wonders. You know, they're like
right.
They like get these massive single sales in the '60s, and then they all ended up in Las Vegas on a residency.
It's the way to do it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
The way to do it.
But
you could do worse.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
and I
who
have
had a residency over there not so long ago. Was one of the Ross brothers. Was it Luke Goss?
Huh.
I think Luke is either Luke or Matt Goss, because one of them is still singing and one of them is acting.
Yeah, one of them is an actor. I think Luke's an actor, I think, isn't he?
Must be Matt Goss then. I think he had a residency in Vegas as well not so long ago.
I believe you. I believe you if you say it.
Yeah, it's a funny town, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great town, but it's a funny town, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Never been there.
All right, got anything to... Oh, go on, sorry, Dave.
I was just going to say, what made you guys move back to the Bay Area then?
Well, we had been there in Austin for 10 years, and we basically just kind of missed our family and being close to family, and kind of felt like it was kind of time to go in a way. Like the town, Austin, of like, I think before we got there and for the 10 years, the last couple years of Austin, it started being an influx of people, like it was like the fastest growing city for 6 years straight. And it started getting really traffic congestion. And obviously also Texas is really hot during the summer. It's like, you know, a month and a half straight of over 100 degree, you know, days and stuff. So after a while of that, we're like, we miss the Bay Area and like the feeling of being here with the fog rolling in and everything and our family. So we moved back, and you know, it is beautiful here. It's great. But I miss the folks of Austin. It was like a very warm, people are so warm and wonderful there. It's just a great people.
Yeah. Cool. But now you've got everybody moving from LA, especially downtown LA, into Austin to try and get away from the homeless problem.
Yeah.
You know? So
then they come to Austin, and it's like Austin had this really cool vibe where people can play late outdoors at these venues, and it's like, oh, this is great. And then the people from LA are like, we're going to move there, and it's such a cool town. And then they move there and call the police. They're playing too loud at night, or whatever. So then it kind of gets to be a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, set me off there.
That made you laugh. A bummer, huh?
Yeah, but it's so typical of the whole generation of where we are.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, right, we're going to move there, but because we think it's such a fun city, but we're going to kill the fun.
Yeah. We're going to kill the fun immediately upon arriving.
Yeah. What's wrong with people, innit? You know, they should have put a big fence up around Austin and said, you're not allowed to come in. Should have got Trump to build a wall.
Or before they come, they have to take a vow that's like, we're not going to try and like, you know, squash down on the liveliness of the place, you know?
Yeah, take a fun test.
Yeah, exactly. You have to pass the fun test.
All right, cool. So have you got anything to promote or?
Well, so right now, I'm kind of actually working on, so last year I released a song on Spotify called Love Love, and
Okay.
it's basically under Teal Collins. And there's some other songs that are going to follow that one pretty soon, but I'm just going to I'm going to wait and release it all as an album or do them one by one. So I've got that Teal Collins on Spotify, and then a funny thing here too is I'm involved in a Pink Floyd tribute called Pete Floyd, because there's two Petes in the band.
Okay.
So that's a lot of fun. We're playing the Sweetwater in Mill Valley this coming Friday, and it's fun because they do a whole, so it's a big band, and they spend a lot of time making it sound very, very nice and just like Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
And
I
I
was
do
gonna say
the
very Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I do the Great Gig in the Sky, and there's a laser show and all that stuff, So that's a fun project I'm doing too. But that's pretty much it. I have an idea because Josh and I, over Mother Truckers' career, there's a lot of songs that we never released that we wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have an idea coming up to kind of get some of that released at some point. And that'll be just a fun thing for people that already love the band. It's like, where did those songs go? I never get to hear those songs. So at some point there might be some more action there, but right now that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a shame. I'd like to hear some more Mother Trucker stuff.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Thanks.
All right then. Okay. Well, thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, you guys.
That's
No
brilliant.
problem. It's been lovely.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And I wish you all the success with whatever you wish to do.
Thank you. When's this episode coming out?
This will probably be coming out in 2 weeks, I think.
Okay, I'll keep an eye peeled.
Yeah, I'll send you a link anyway when we get it all out, and
Great.
I'll get it edited up.
Awesome.
So, all right, and tell them horny people outside they can come in now.
I will. All right, you guys. Thanks for having me so much. It was really fun.
Thank you,
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Teal. Cheers.
Have a great evening.
And you, yes, thank you. Have a great day, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, bye.
Bye.